Hey folks, it's David back again with another video. Welcome back to the channel. I almost said Verse by Shape, which is my other channel on YouTube. This is, of course, David C's Movie Journals. And in keeping with that theme, today is Saturday, the 9th of November, 8:51 p.m. as I'm making this video for Rumble. And first, I need to bleed on you all a little bit. Not really, not literally. Just to tell more about what this channel is about, the whole journal part of it, and the reason why I record the dates and stuff, or try to whenever I remember to, and things like that. I have wanted so much to get to the movies this past couple of weeks, and it's been really irritating me, brutal even, that I can't make it because with my schedule as a over the road truck driver, it just several days I've tried to scheme and plan of a way to use the truck, my company's truck, to maybe park in the back alleyway of a movie theater not far from where my terminal is and try and sneak in a show. Not sneak in a show as in I wouldn't pay, but sneak in as in between my work and my breaks. Go and watch one of the movies I don't want to watch and then get right back to it when it was time to drive again. But yeah, it's been it's been really frustrating because I don't know. It's just something that's come up with me the past couple of months. Really, it's been coming on for a while now. The urge, the desire to get back into this hobby of making a channel like this and doing reviews and talking about what I love, talking about what I enjoy doing and things like that as a good pastime, and hopefully a way over time to interact with other people and really enjoy myself doing this since I haven't done it in years. And not being able to get to the movies has been really frustrating. And I won't say that again. I'll just say why. It's because there are certain movies that I want to make sure I see in the theater, even if it's stuff that maybe I wouldn't be too crazy about. I'm looking at the things coming out and I say that could be tolerable. I'll go ahead and support the movie house, the movie theater. I'll go and buy a ticket, support movie going, because for a while there, people were like, "Oh, the movie theater is going to be a thing of the past," even before COVID, even before the lockdowns, even before the pandemic. But it just doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah, some places go away, some places that didn't exist spring up. New movie theaters, very rarely, but new ownership takes over. New people come in who do things better, don't waste a lot of money, and actually support that section of the entertainment industry, movie going. And there have been several movies that I thought, you know what, I really want to see the big epic stuff. Like I really wanted to see Dune, things like that. That's maybe the most epic thing that I can think of recently that came out, apart from Maverick, Top Gun, a couple years back. But there have been just movies that I'm like, you know what, I think I would enjoy that. Fall Guy, I'm like, I want to watch that. I saw it in the theater, enjoyed it very much. I like that movie. Things like that. I almost said Amorosa. Sorry, Furiosa. Oh, I gave Furiosa a chance, and that movie was rather intense, kind of rough. I'm glad I saw it in the theater, and it was like one of the last showings down at the Grand in D'Iberville, Mississippi. But here lately, it's like there are actually a few that, for the sake of doing reviews, of watching movies, keeping myself up to date with movies, and then getting the reviews on this channel, and maybe I'll mirror that, upload all the same things over to my, since I've got a new YouTube account. Even though I said I never go back, I'm going to go ahead and go back. And what I'm doing over here, I'll go ahead and throw on a channel over there just to have more eyeballs on what I'm doing and really establish myself as somebody who actually talks about movies and reviews it. Maybe I'll end up being one of the thousands of people who they do this as a hobby, but nobody ever watched the videos. Who cares? At least I'm doing it because there's great enjoyment for me just in what I'm doing right now. And I'm not even talking about a movie yet. Case in point, Transformers 1. I saw that trailer and I'm like, you know what? That animation looks nice. It looks real good. But I thought, you know what? It's Transformers. They seem to have gone off the rail. I didn't even grow up with Transformers. I didn't grow up with it. I grew up with Ninja Turtles more so, and maybe a speck of Power Rangers, but then Star Wars was introduced to me in the mid '90s, and that blew everything else out of the water for a time. But I just didn't. And that and GI Joe, I didn't grow up with GI Joe in the same way other kids did. The exposure that I got to it, just all it was just not having to have seen the cartoons. That's all it took for me to be able to say now I didn't really grow up with it. But I'm looking back on this stuff now, and I know there's a lot of good stuff there. There really is. Whatever Hollywood would do with the movies and these live action things, like with Michael Bay, even though a lot of people are missing him right about now, we miss some just explosion nonsense escapism movies to actually get some escapism happening. Go and turn the whole world off and enjoy a show, a movie, a new production, and just let all the world fade for a couple of hours. I realized over the past little while I need that in a way that I didn't need it when I was younger. When I was a kid growing up, it was just the fantasy and the awe of these stories of movies and stuff. But now, I actually do, like, you know what, this is gonna be like a tonic or something. But because of my schedule, it almost felt like a chore. Literally today, it's Saturday. I'm finished. I'm done until Monday. I dropped my trailer off, my loaded trailer in uh, what is it, Bay Minette, Alabama. I live here in South Mississippi. Finished that, drop off my paperwork, drove home about an hour. But I thought, you know what? I'll duck over into D'Iberville at the Grand, and I'll fit in a couple of shows. But as I sat there, with still an hour to go, I got on my laptop to kill some time. I played a game called Chivalry Medieval Warfare with some crazy people online. Uh, got frustrated with one of the people who I really think is hacking, but be that as it may, I got off from that. A few minutes to spare. It's almost time to go in the movie theater. I was going to watch Transformers 1 and then Beetlejuice. I was going to fit in two shows, and I'm back in the saddle. I'm in the driver's seat. I parked the semi tractor now in the parking lot with the other cars, not with them, more off to the side, close where you can actually see the interstate I-10, the westbound side of the highway is like right there, a few feet from me. And I just was thinking to myself, you ever get that sudden feeling of anxiety or something where it's like you just don't want to be around people? And yet one of the reasons I want to go to the movies is to watch movies with other people. It was a crazy feeling, but I've had it before in my life. Like, I really don't want to go in. It's sad in a way, I know, and it was frustrating me. I didn't get angry the way I used to get angry. I would have been getting angry at myself, I realized, because it's like, been working all week. I didn't shower like yesterday. I was an over the road truck driver, and these truck stops charging. And yes, there are showers in these big truck stops to accommodate truck drivers because there are no facilities inside the semi tractors. And so you don't shower every single day as a driver. I'm like, I'm probably funky. I'm in my work shirt. It's torn here. I look like a bum. Where I reached my arm under the tractor to pull the kingpin lock loose, I realized I've still got the shirt on. It's filthy above my shoulder where I touched the underneath of the tractor, this huge steel plate that is the bottom of the trailer. When I pull that latch out, I've been rubbing it there, and it's like, great. I look dirty. I probably think it's like, and there's also the fact that I'm kind of tired after my driving 300 miles. There were so many little things like nagging at me, and I'm like, I need to go ahead and be home. My mom was sick, very sick earlier on in the week. I haven't been home. She's feeling much better now, but I'm like, here I am going to watch a movie while I haven't seen her since she's recuperated. And granted, she's bounced back from it. It's like a little touch of the flu, which I may have the flu. I may get the flu from her, but if I'm not careful while I'm here at home, feeling much better. She's doing much better, but I'm like, all these little things were just nagging at me, and I'm like, I need to just get on with this. Get David, you want to watch movies? Go get out of the truck, get in there, get your tickets. Because once the movie starts, it'll all change. That was in the back of my mind. It's like, just get in there and just get where you want to be. Get there and get ready for it. Be ready to watch the movie. but I let all these little things like crowd into my mind. I'm like, if I watch these two movies, it's going to be 11, maybe 11:30, maybe like 11 o'clock before I get home. It's like, so I just came home, and I just wanted to say all that. I've spent 10 minutes talking to you about how aggravating it has been just trying to watch movies when you work all the time. But I'm doing it now. I'm not going to waste it. I didn't realize I was going to spend that much time talking about this. I'm so ashamed. Let me get on with this. What I've done is I've purchased, didn't even buy it. I spent the $10. I'm going to watch Transformers 1 right now on my computer at home and then give my thoughts on it. So it's going to happen anyways. Beetlejuice is still at the theater. I might catch it tomorrow after worship services, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how things goes. But right now, because Transformers is about to be out of the theater, or maybe there's one more like noontime showing, but I can't possibly make that tomorrow, and it's going to be out of the theaters. Really, I've been so lucky that it's been there this whole time, but I still didn't make it. Anyways, enough of this. I'm about to watch Transformers 1 and then give you my thoughts on it. So until then, see you in a minute. Hey, folks. And I'm back. It's actually the next day now as I'm actually doing my review of Transformers 1, 7:36 p.m. on the 10th of November, 2024. I got to say that, folks. That's the theme of this channel. It's a journal. And I'm going to click on the IMDb page. What I did was on YouTube, I paid the $10 to rent the film for 48 hours. And I'm going to tell you straight up right now, when I turned the lights off and I put my nice headset on for the full sound, and I was just soaking in this movie as much as I could, as though I had made it to a movie theater. I so wish I had. As the movie started, and by the end, all the way through to the end, when that music comes on, and the way they have the nebulous clouds, pink, purple, like the stars and the wispy cloud, like you're in some far off distant world, and that music kicks in with the font of the Transformers, and you're still just going off of the victory that Prime and all those Autobots achieved for Cybertron. You're just like, man, I wish I had made the theater. I wish I had seen this movie in the movie theater, because it so would have been worth it. The animation was great. It looked so good. And now I just it's just kind of a memory that I have, but I don't have. I'll have to pretend like I saw, because I got my laptop right in my grill here, but it wasn't the movie theater. I just thought I wish I had made it to the movie house to see this, but I did finally see it, and this is my favorite movie. I think the best thing Transformers related that I have ever seen. I enjoyed it very much. They did a good job of storytelling, considering the two things. It's in the little moniker, "Witness the Origin," and my sister warning me about, oh, there's betrayal, and I kind of figured that, being that it starts out with the stories of Optimus Prime and Megatron, so you're getting ready for that. But I guess I'm just blessed with a sunny disposition or something. I can really start from scratch with a movie like this, and it was so great to see those two characters from their earliest moments together, how they're birthed or whatever. That doesn't show that part, but when they're suddenly on the scene and they don't have their cogs, and again, this is a new language to me, because I don't know Transformers. I just enjoyed the three Shia LaBeouf films. Hit and miss. It was some nice popcorn fun for what those movies are. You get into the Transformers a little bit, but somebody always said, man, I'm tired of seeing the humans in these movies. One guy in particular, Michael King, well, really several of the guys who do a lot of rants on movies, reviews, but a lot of rants too on YouTube. Michael King's one of them. His channel, The Choice Voice, he said, man, I wish we could have a story about the Transformers, and I think it was the Bumblebee movie or whatever it was. I didn't see that film. Again, the only movies, the live action things that they've made so far that I've seen were the three Shia LaBeouf films, and after that it was Mark Wahlberg, who somehow was able to get into the movies in a way I just can't imagine. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. It is what it is. I didn't see any movies past that because I was kind of tired of it, thinking it feels like it's just the same thing every time in a lot of ways. But anyway, people love Transformers. I don't hate it. I just didn't grow up with it, and I like getting into stuff. I got into this. I really dug this movie. So I'm going to say everything I can about it in this next little bit. Again, this was all about the Transformers in their world, Cybertron, no humans, and that's I think part of why I liked it so much. And I'm curious to go back to Michael. I actually looked it up last night. Michael King's channel, The Choice Voice. He hasn't done a review of Transformers One yet, at least not one that he's put up on his channel. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he and some other guys think about this movie. Since there are no humans, you don't follow the weird, messed up, troublesome, annoying humans and the American military fighting off Decepticons, anything like that. No, this is all Transformers all the time in this movie. It's the origin, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and there were parts of it that just look so good. Like when they make it to the surface, and then you see this fast sunrise of and the metal world, Cybertron. It's all metal and it's all electricity, and the way the landscape is shaping and the way the train works as the sun rose, and there are the transformer deer or whatever those creatures were with the beep beep and the red lights. It's an amazing little world, and how and all they were being these four uh, transformers, even though they weren't realizing they were transformers yet. Orion Pax, voiced by Chris Hemsworth, Alita, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, B-127, I guess that's going to be Bumblebee, by Keegan Michael Key, Coach Hines himself. I didn't recognize the voice until a certain point, and I'm trying to think of what it was. Was it at the end when he's like, I've got knives, I got knives? He's cutting up everybody and everything. He was a monster. D16, I don't know why I thought a time or two is because I didn't check the cast beforehand. I just knew Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be in this, and that's definitely Chris Hemsworth's voice as Orion Pax. I'm like, besides that, I don't really know, and I didn't look up the cast beforehand. I thought it was Samuel L. Jackson voicing Megatron or D16. Nah, that's Brian Tyree Henry, and he did a good job. Lawrence Fishburne voiced Alpha Trion. I didn't realize it was John Hamm as Sentinel Prime. Arachnid, oh, she was a mess. Bad news. Played by or voiced by Vanessa Liguri, and I want to say some other people I would mention is I had no idea until I looked at this a few minutes ago. Steve Buscemi voiced Starscream. I'm like, are you kidding me? I didn't realize that. That's a pleasant surprise. That's a pleasant surprise. But I guess I'll share a screen here to show you what I'm looking at. I was just glancing over IMDb, looking at the voices, the voice actors, and there they all are right there. These four, D16, B-127, Alita, and of course Orion Pax, and they make it to the surface. It was like an awe-inspiring thing. I was just impressed by how beautiful their world looked. And so I hope that Michael King, the choice voice, I hope he's pleased with this movie, because this was all about the Transformers. You learn, and I'm taking this as Transformers lore. I'm taking this as canon, as far as I know, because like I said, I didn't grow up with the cartoon. It just didn't happen. I was too busy watching Ninja Turtles and stuff, other junk. I just didn't grow up with G.I. Joe and Transformers the way a lot of other people did. I'm a Johnny come lately to some of these properties, but I do enjoy it, and enjoy it very much. So those four make it to the surface, and I watched the film last night, and it was late in the evening, obviously after I'd worked. So I'm going to end up messing up a couple of terms here, but I'm going to keep glancing back to this uh, this little bit of the few notes here on IMDb. I'm trying to remember what they were mining for. I still have the film for a few more hours, so I could look it up real quick. But I wish I could remember from memory what they were mining and what the enemy invading alien race was taken from them. Let me Google this real quick, please. Bear with me. Transformers were mining. Transformers are vital for underground mining because they manage and distribute electrical power safely and efficiently. That's an actual transformer. I was just reading the definition for them. What are miners and transformers? Decepticon miners are servant class Decepticons working on Megatron's various mining projects. As they are not a warrior class, the Autobots do not kill them indiscriminately like they do Vehicons, except when they do. I'm trying to remember what was the name. I can't believe I can't remember. I want to get the names right. I want to get the terminology right. Energon. Mining for Energon, and the Energon isn't flowing like it used to. It's like on Dune, the spice must flow. It's all about some natural resource, I'm telling you, and greedy hands trying to get over it, get it so they can have all the power. That's what happens in this story. This is a story of betrayal. It's a story of friendship and honor and duty, and it's a story with an adventure in it. It's got a little bit of feminism with Scarlett Johansson's Alita saying, "I'm better than you in every way," and she's a real company woman. When Orion Pax and D16 are mining, and there's an explosion, and Orion Pax, Chris Hemsworth voicing, he does the honorable thing, trying to make sure everybody gets out alive. But the order is we gotta protect the many, even if the few end up getting hurt. She's trying to get as many as she can out, but the order is to shut the door. But Orion doesn't shut the door yet because there's still somebody trapped under some rocks, and he and D16, um, they don't just run away. Mostly at the behest of Orion Pax. He rescues the guy. He's not going to just run away while somebody's trapped under a rock. At every turn, Orion is demonstrating honor and being willing to face danger to help somebody. And I gotta go ahead and talk spoilers, folks. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I know you've got to guess what the film is about. But if you don't, maybe you want to go in. If you don't know anything, even maybe if you know even less about Transformers than I do, and you want to go in cold to all this, maybe go ahead and exit out and come watch my review later on. I'd appreciate that. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about the gritty details and the spoilers because I kid you not, I played this game called Chivalry Medieval Warfare, and just completely at random, I got into the game last night and I said, I typed into the chat, I just saw Transformers 1. Betrayal much? And somebody, I don't remember who, just responded real quick, like, yeah, that movie was dope. And it really was. It was a great little tale. It was well done and I think well executed. Um, because again, it's a story about deception. And unfortunately, it's one of those stories where somebody is so wrapped up in their own day to day, everything will work out if I just do such and such, like lifestyle, that kind of mentality. And in this case, it's D16, voiced by Brian Tyree Henry, Megatron, the future Megatron. He actually becomes, what am I saying? He becomes Megatron in this movie, and Orion becomes uh, Maximus uh, Prime. Let me ask Google something here real quick. How much? Wait, I'm just going to type in Transformers 1 box office. Transformers 1 has passed 120 million at the box office. It's now winning at the box office, 58 million. I had just heard or thought I read somewhere that the film just didn't gross that much money. Like it just wasn't that well received and didn't perform very well. But I want to verify that right now, um, because I had just read that Beetlejuice has done like like $450 million, and yeah, this has done $128 million. So depending on what its budget was, I don't know what its budget was, but I imagine it was quite a bit. I don't know if it's actually turned a profit or not, but I hope it did, because this film this film was just great. The more I think about it, it would have been an epic thing. It is what am I saying? It is exactly the kind of epic little tale I want to see at the movie theater, and I hate it that I didn't make it, but at least I saw it here in my room. Again, you can see there, if you can see on the screen, that's B with Alita, and he just would not shut up, so much so that when he's captured by the whatchamacallit guard, they Keegan Michael Key, the royal the rebel guard or whatever, I forget their term. They bolted his mouth shut because he just wouldn't stop talking. The way Orion and D meet up with them is I was going to say it's funny, but no, it was part of their being screwed over, because again, all throughout this movie, Orion is just such a genuinely, I'll say, good-hearted creature. Just a he means well. He wants to get out of his present state. He's not really satisfied with it. Not that he hates it, but he's a dreamer. He yearns for more. He wants to be free. He wants to be a transformer. And when they learned that, I want to get his name right, it was Sentinel. Alpha, no, not it's voiced by John Hammond. Sentinel Prime. When they realize that he's just been jerking them all around the whole planet full of Transformers, and how it's a heartbreaking thing. This film has a way of really working your heartstrings, talking about how from birth he took their cogs and he's been mining them and pushing them to work harder just so he can be in charge, and that's all it is. He's given all the energon over to the I almost said the Vespus, but that's Ethan Van Sciver's Cybertron, uh, Cyber Frog story, the invading alien race. No, this is I forget what they were called, but you know what? Somebody could help me out with the synopsis, because I can't remember from last night, and I don't want to crank up the movie right now because I might end up messing around and letting it play and get myself a nice copyright strike. Should I accidentally play some of it? Storyline: the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies, but who once were friends, bonded like brothers, who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. That's a nice little synopsis there. On a planet called Cybertron, a bunch of energon-fueled sentient robots roam around with a device fitted so they can transform into vehicles. In a city named Lacon, a robot named Orion Pax sneaks off to watch a documentary the original Cybertrons had made. Unfortunately, Orion is caught by the security robots and is taken to prison, but his best friend D16 gets him out. Whilst the two get back to work in a cave, they trap another miner named Jazz, whilst their leader, Elita 1, gets blamed for the incident and is demoted. Meanwhile, Cybertron leader Sentinel Prime returns home from an expedition to the surface of the planet, claiming he had fought off invading Quintesson aliens to return. He then organizes a race to celebrate. Orion and D16 want to prove themselves as more than just mining robots and enter the race with jetpacks, but ultimately lose. Timeout. D6, Orion pushed, he didn't push him into it, but he got him into it. In a way, Orion tricked D16 into being in that race. But it was because he wanted something good for him. He always wanted things that were good for D16, but D16 was always reluctant. Back to it. Sentinel is about to reward them for boosting morale when the duo are once again caught and put to work in garbage disposal and incineration. That was some bull. That let me find his name. Uh, uh, let me. What's the name of that Joker who tormented them throughout the whole thing? It was one who he was a transformer. I can't remember his name. Jetpack or what? That's not. That wasn't it. You know who I'm talking about. Not that bright. He always talked down to them. He's the one who, instead of rewarding them, because Sentinel actually. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? No, David, you're an idiot. There I go again, wanting to see the best in people. Sorry, folks. I'm just kind of slow on the uptake. It wasn't an accident, David, you idiot. Now I really have to look up the guy's name because it's so integral here. Let me go with Transformers 1 and find the name of that Transformer who did that, because that was on Sentinel's orders, David, you idiot. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't just one guy doing them in. It was Sentinel who did that. Sorry, folks. I just proved how silly I am right here in a review, and I'm going to upload this too. It wasn't an accident, David. What? It's going to come to me. Starscream, Sentinel Prime, right now. Shockwave? No. I think that was one of the ones they find. Zeta Prime, Announcer Bot, Darkwing. Darkwing. Let me click on that and find. Are there any images? I think it was Darkwing. I hate this. Anyways, let me get back to it because this is a good synopsis. He's going to reward them. Sentinel makes like he's going to reward them. Nope. He's going to throw them right back down to where they were. Even though, as he had said, oh, you guys did something so historic and inspirational. You are my kind of guys. Those miners are already working at 150% capacity just by the great pep talk. You were such an inspiration without giving a pep talk. The inspiration, they were so psyched and inspired by your performance. Miners entering the race, and that was crazy the way they almost won that thing, and then the way they lost it. And again, it was another example when that happened of Orion does something. D16 is like he brings him up to his level, wanting him to be where he is. He wants him to be. Orion thinks of D as his brother, and D kind of thinks of him as his brother, as Orion and his brother. Except later on, when things are really, the stuff's getting real, and after D16 realizes just how awful Sentinel is and how he's using all of them and how he's deceived. There's that deception again. Decepticons on the rise. What he's done to him, he says, there's only one such and such I trust in. It's a good little scene because it's cut off by something that suddenly happens. D16, you're thinking there's only one other guy I trust. You're thinking he's going to say, and it's you, Orion. I don't think so. That was a neat little scene. I was thinking about that today. I was thinking, he didn't finish that sentence. You don't know what he was about to say. Maybe he was not about to say Orion, because I'll tell you this. The betrayal in the end is bad, but the way they build up to it is it's so well done, in my opinion. Because when those live action movies, it's all after the fact stuff. You're already thrown into the thicket of it, the thick lore of Transformers. Optimus Prime is what Optimus Prime is, boy, and boy is he. And Megatron is such a sleazy scumbag. He's this Decepticon. I got from that Megatron and like the 3 Shia LaBeouf movies that. Again, those are the only ones I saw, even though I know they've made like 6 or 7 before this animated movie, which I think is the best one yet. He always seemed to me like the guy who would just play you just to play you. That Megatron in those movies, like he would betray. There's like an emotional buildup. You can see it coming. but it's still well done. And that's what I like about this movie. That Megatron and those 3 movies, I got the impression from him that he just cuts your throat and puts you in the disc just as soon as look at you. Like he would be like, he would betray you for so little. Like, huh, I don't care about you. I never did. I've just been playing you and using you. That's the kind of scumbag I took that guy to be. But to see their friend, they had a friendship in the beginning in this film is such a neat. It's such a neat story. While doing the job, the pair meet B-127 and they discover a chip in all the garbage with a distress signal from one of the primes called Alpha Triton. Orion convinces D-16, B-27, and Alita to travel to his coordinates with him, the latter coming along after seeing them hitchhiking a train. Yeah, Alita didn't want to do any such thing. She wanted to turn them all in and get promoted back up to where she was or to some higher position after she blames Orion for having got her in trouble. But it was really just because she doesn't really care about anybody but herself and her procedure, her protocol, and following the rules. That's all that's on her brain. And another thing about them finding the coordinates to where Alpha Triton maybe is, and the whatchamacallit of leadership, the diadem of leadership, or whatever that thing was, that Prime receives in the end because of his absolutely, completely selfless sacrifice and his nobility that he demonstrates. It's kind of wild just how pure Orion is in this movie. The character that he displayed it makes this movie what it is. What was I going to say? Come on. That's how the movie opens. He's searching for something. He's already snuck in to the Jedi archives, as it were, to get to look at all these historical records and all these holograms of lectures about the history of Cybertron and the Transformers and what happened. Except they don't contain all the truth. There's always some information that it always stops here, doesn't it? And it's like the 5th or 6th time that security has been alerted, and he's been run down and disciplined. So that's who he is from the beginning. Orion. The characters are kind of fixed in a way. Orion starts out as a decent to well-meaning guy who, by not being moved from what he understood, just do the right thing, he becomes master of his world, basically. He Optimus Prime, he has the leadership role in Cybertron, and Energon is flown again at the end of this movie, and it's great. It's greatness. Whereas D, he was content to be where he was, if I can dare use the word content, and didn't want anything but just to look after his own self. Maybe wasn't vicious in the beginning toward others, and yet it was at the end of the day, it's all about just protecting numero uno, me, number one, in his mind. That's how he seemed to be. And despite their friendship as minors who would watch each other's back and hang out together and not wanting bad things for each other, the pull of who they really were inside each other, it can't help but really, this is a really well written story. I'm just the more I think about it, it's like they just kind of blossomed more and more into what they were, these two characters, and the trajectory that they really were when you look inside of each of them. It's like, well, given this certain circumstance they're going to go into, one is going to go this way and the other is going to go that way, and it's going to get ugly. And yeah, let me keep reading here. The quartet travel up to the surface and discover a cave with a Trion all deactivated, laying amongst Prime corpses. They reactivate Trion, and he reveals that Sentinel had betrayed the Primes and was working undercover for the quintessent aliens from earlier, handing them Energon supplies in return for allowing him to rule Cybertron. It is also revealed that he was the one removing the cogs from all the miners. Trion hands them cogs so they can transform, as well as chip, so they can deliver the evidence. A chip, so they can deliver the evidence of Sentinel and his betrayal. Soon after, he and his army arrive, capture and deactivate Trion. The robots try and make back to Lacan to reveal the evidence, only to be caught by the High Guard. That's what they're called, not the Rebel Guard or the whatever I call them. Meanwhile, Warbots are rebelling against Sentinels. DX takes care of defeating their leader, Starscream. However, Orion begins to worry about his friend's ever-growing aggression. That should be friend apostrophe S right there. He's not worried about B and Alita. He's just worried about D, because D is gradually going off the deep end with these subtle little snips and little I got it. That scene right there, when he kind of snatches the chip from him, you're like, hey, well, that's our evidence, and you're spilling it everywhere. Orion just being ever non-threatening, because this is his friend that he's talking to. He just wants him to be careful with the only evidence they've got that Sentinel is Beelzebub, basically stealing Transformers cogs from their birth, so that they're forced to essentially be his slaves forever while he's living high on the hog, paying off aliens. But he's running out of energon, and I just wonder what was going to happen to him when they run out of energon. The aliens are probably just Quintesson are going to have their way with the whole place. Where was I? Growing aggression since learning the truth about Sentinel. Yeah, Sentinel and his forces find them and begin fighting with them. Unfortunately, in the battle, the evidence chip is destroyed in D16, B27, and half of the High Guard are taken back to Lakon by Sentinel's army. This is the thing right here, and this is what I meant about how there's a break, and these characters are already kind of fixed in terms of the kind of, I'm not going to say people because they're Transformers, but D was not going to ever find it in his heart, or whatever you want to call it, Transformer, to ever show any kind of mercy toward Sentinel after this lifetime of deception that he has gone through. It just wasn't going to happen. He blew up on Orion and said, I want him dead. I want him to suffer, and then I want him to be destroyed in darkness. It's like he got dark all of a sudden, and you understand where it's coming from. You understand completely where it's coming from, and so you almost want to sympathize with him. It's just the fact remains that this is your friend. This is Orion, and this is these other two, B and Alita. There are other people here who have also been wronged every bit as much as you. So it goes back to the kind of character that he was the whole time. Ever resentful, like 2 or 3 times after Orion does something that he meant well, and then it kind of backfired, but it always managed to get him into a better and better situation. But every time, D is always like, you just had to do this, didn't you? You just had to do. It's a really good story, man. I really did love this movie. A couple more paragraphs here. Alita encourages Orion to rally the other half of the High Guard and the rest of the clan, and they make their way back to Lakon. In the process, Alita broadcasts her memory recordings while subduing Sentinel's lieutenant and inspires the other citizens to help them defeat him. Orion and D16 successfully defeat Sentinel, but have a quarrel over whether to execute him or not, and it ends up with D16 unintentionally shooting Orion, killing him. D16 watches as his friend falls to the ground. D16, newly renamed Megatron, kills Sentinel and demands the High Guard destroy Lakon. The Primus and Prime spirits accompany Orion and give him the Matrix of Power, reviving him and ultimately renaming him Optimus Prime. Optimus then fights and defeats Megatron and the High Guard and exiles the pair. The Matrix restores Cybertron's now dry energon rivers and all the miners' cogs. Optimus then goes and christens his entourage as Autobots before sending the Quintesson aliens a warning message to stay away from Cybertron. Megatron renames the High Guard, the Decepticons, and the two plan to get their own back on Optimus Prime. That's a neat way to end this synopsis. Optimus then goes and christens his entourage as Autobots before sending the quintessent aliens a warning message to stay away from Cybertron. Megatron renames the High Guard, the Decepticons, and the two plan to get their own back on Optimus Prime. What two is he talking about? Oh, I guess Megatron renames the High Guard, the Decepticons, and the two plan to get their own back on Optimus Prime. Is this writer talking about saying that the two plan? What two is it talking about? The quintessent aliens and Megatron? Sorry, folks, I got confused by the way this is worded here at the end. I thought it was kind of neat, but then it confused me because they want revenge. But I thought, it's on Optimus Prime that he wants revenge. I'll tell you what, man. When D16, I'm just going to call him Megatron for the rest of this because, in a way, that's what he always was. He just became worse over time. Really, I think that's the way this story goes. When he's beating the mess out of Starscream, it's like, and Starscream was like, "Come on, is that the bad you get?" That was like, whoa, this is some crazy junk. Was this meant for children? It's like hammering him in the face when the rage, and as he's transforming more and more, when that laser cannon thing, I forget what it's called, his cannon all of a sudden transform out of his arm, and all the like, whoa, and he's almost scared of himself just for a half a second, and all the Autobots are like, goodness, what is this thing? Who is this guy? And then he puts that cannon right in Starscream's face, and Starscream says, "Please, I beg." Then he's begging for mercy. He's like, this guy really can kill me. He's fighting him for leadership. He wants to lead this army, the High Guard, to destroy Sentinel. And Sentinel really is a piece of trash. Oh man, the most obnoxious. The way he offed uh, Prime Tryon. What? I gotta get this right. Alpha Tryon. Really, just he was a killer. All that mattered was that he was number one. And I just wanted to mention that scene with the cannon growing out of Dee's arm, and that synopsis didn't do justice to one thing in particular. When he wouldn't hear Orion, when he said, "We've won, we can rebuild together," and he's trying to get Dee under control, Megatron, and he's like, "No, he's got to pay." When he shoots Orion, I guess I'm just naive, and it's part of why I love movies so much. I didn't see that coming. It's like, it makes sense, yeah, but in a way, you know what's going to happen, but then it happens, and you're like, "Whoa!" He just shot his friend, and he regretted it at first. It didn't mention this in that synopsis I just read. This is what was wild to me, and I'm like, this is some heavy junk. When he has him, he caught him by his hand, even though he's like fading out, he's like shorting out because he blew half his body apart, and Orion's dying, and he's got him, and he makes this decision. He's looking at him, and he's thinking, that's all because of Orion still talking to him and telling him the truth about what's right, about what direction you need to go in, about what we need to do in this situation, for what all that's happened, and how we should actually deal with Sentinel. He's like, we can rebuild together. We can rebuild. I think that was something in the dialogue. I think that's what he said, and just that idea of sharing power. It was all about Dee, and it always was. When his eyes go red and he says, "I'm tired of saving you," he lets him go. He goes from accidentally shooting him and being freaked out at his behavior for half a second to catching him as he's about to fall down into the center of Cybertron, all the way down into the glowing blue orb. He dropped him. He dropped him. He dropped him in there. He killed him. He meant to kill him at that point. I was like, This isn't just a betrayal. This isn't just a betrayal. This is a this was a good movie, man. This was a very good little flick. The absolute pure sacrifice that Orion made. I forgot the name of the original. They tell you in the beginning he sacrificed his own self. He was the original creator, transformer, whatever. He is Cybertron now. He created Cybertron. His life essence is Cybertron now. He gave birth to all the Transformers. That was the voice or whatever speaking through those original primes, saying, because of your act of selflessness, you are given the, I'm going to forget what it is again. The trophy of leadership. I can't remember what it's called, but you all know what I'm talking about. And it's right there in the center of his chest. And it not only brings him back online, brings him back to life, it makes him so powerful. I was hoping at this point, I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a little bit like D myself. After that betrayal, I was thinking, I hope he's powerful enough to just deal D whatever blow that he just knocks him out. That's where I was, because again, I was going into this movie cold. I don't know that much about Transformers. I only know this movie that's happening before me and that I'm enjoying very much. I'm watching it and I'm like, I hope he can like nuke him or something. I hope he can just dispatch him with post haste. I hope that's the kind of power that he's just been endowed with when he gets back to the surface, and D is just gonna kill everything and burn it all down. That's what you see in the trailer, and that really is one of the little cinematics they share in the trailer that made me want to see the movie in the theater. I'm like, I gotta see that in the theater. I gotta see what leads up to that in the theater, but it's okay. I still got to see it, and that's what matters. I don't know what that weapon is, that axe thing that Prime had. Optimus Prime. You are no longer Orion, Pax. You are Optimus Prime. It's so great. That thing, it was bumfuzzling D. It's like, I can't remember what the thing is called. The trophy of leadership. Let me Google it. Because when D sees him, when he gets back to the surface and sees that he's alive and that he's not just Orion anymore, he's something else. He's Prime now. Transformers leadership. Transformers leadership. What is that thing called? Because Matrix of leadership. When D sees it, and he says, they gave you the Matrix of leadership. I was thinking of Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Like, they gave you the Congressional Medal of Honor. Yes, sir, they surely did. They gave you an imbecile, an idiot who goes on television and makes a fool out of himself. Yes, sir, they surely did. Well, that is just perfect. That's what I was thinking of when D saw him, and it was like, it's not, you're back, my friend, you're alive. I'm sorry. He's gone. He is Megatron. He declared himself to be Megatron. D's gone, and this is such a good movie. You can't go back. Just as surely as when you were a kid and now you're all grown up, you can't go back to being a child again. You're a grown up now, and you've done things that you're either going to be honored for, or you've done things that you're going to pay the price for. And unfortunately, D was time to be shown the long, strong arm of the law at that point. And the way they have a nice little smackdown, it's not the most epic fight ever, but when Prime slices off his cannon deal and bests him and says, and basically like saying, you're not gonna win this thing, man. he still shows mercy to him. He could have killed him the way that Dee killed Sentinel, but he didn't. And the superiority of these characters when they do that kind of thing is just it's unmatched. It's so much better than what Dee did. I was thinking people hate these, or at least they give a lot of grief to those Aquaman movies, but I actually enjoyed, not just as popcorn movies. There are elements in those films that to me are far superior to most of what the other DC movies they've come out have been. Like at the end of Aquaman 2, when even after what was it? Black Mamba? No, Black Manta, not Black Mamba, had kidnapped and threatened to kill Aquaman's his dad, his child, his firstborn. At the end of that movie, I made a point of this in my review. When he reaches down his arm and he's going to help him get up and not fall to his death, it was Manta who said, "Never," and he fell willingly to oblivion and died. And there was Jason Momoa, Aquaman, just rising up out of the hole. He extended his arm to him. He wanted to show mercy to him, even then. And there's something to be said about that kind of thing. There most definitely is. It makes these characters, I dare say it, better. And I'm not talking about the absolutely cartoonish sort of thing. The silliness that you see, like for instance, Batman and the Joker, where Joker is this maniacal clown who somehow has bad guys, an endless supply of underlings and psychopaths who are. It's just like in that song they had on Key of Awesome. The Joker's men are psycho and expendable, yet somehow completely dependable. And he kills people. He's murdered lots of people, but Batman's no kill policy demands that he never, well, give him the slip like Michael Keaton's Batman did in 1989 Batman. Not that kind of thing. I'm talking about the more realistic scenarios. Like, do you just kill this person, or do you deliver them to the proper authorities? Orion made the right choice, and then Optimus Prime made the right choice. Now, I don't know what in the world else I can say about this movie since I've been going at it for 46 minutes here, but just to look at some of the images, let me look at Transformers 1. I'll do a Google image search and see if any of these little stills can bring anything to mind. I love the animation. I love the look of all these characters. It is the best looking thing Transformers related ever. You can actually this stuff makes more sense than the live action films. Remember how they all looked and all they had the sharp pieces, sharp bits everywhere? It's like that doesn't really look like it can fold and like, yeah, sure it can transform, but these transformations involve a lot of folding and shifting and stuff. But in the live action movies, it's like, okay, I gotta suspend my imagination anyways here. That is Bumblebee, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, I don't know the story and the lore of the way a lot of the real Transformers fans do, but it's just he's yellow, and I'm thinking he must be Bumblebee. They made a whole movie about him. I didn't see it, but it's like he couldn't talk in the Transformers movies that they made that I saw, and I guess they were trying to catch up for that in this movie by making Keegan Michael Keel talk 50 words a minute or 100 words a minute and just be a chatty Cathy the whole movie, make him talk nonstop. I don't know if that's what they were trying to do or not, but again, I want to praise the animation. I want to praise how good it looked, how much I enjoyed it. Again, this is exactly the kind of film I wish I had seen in the theater, but I messed up because I didn't take enough interest in it because it was Transformers. And like I said, there's something about Transformers that, well, all I can say is if I knew it was this good and it was always this good, perhaps, I would have been seeing me a lot more Transformers along the way. But am I even sharing this? I'm not even sharing this. I'm not even sharing the screen so you can see what I'm seeing. we'll try and shut this off before I get to a full hour here, but it's it was just a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. Let me click on that and see if I can get the name of that one. Leader Class, Optimus Prime, and there's the axe. What's the name of the axe? What's it called? Yeah. Part of me wanted to sympathize with D, but once you're that far gone, Megatron, you just can't come back after that. At least not without paying your debt to society, or at least in this instance, Megatron. And I thought I could see like some actual real life political commentary going on in this movie. The idea of deception. How many people, like in these past couple elections, have said things that make you think they're thinking that they've been lied to their whole lives by the government? Maybe not about everything, but about certain things that seem so big, and that they play such an important. They have such an important place in your life, such a big role or an important aspect in your life that you feel like it's everything. I've heard a lot of people say that over the past few years, like, I've been deceived, I've been lied to my whole life. And D, again, I talk about D a lot because for obvious reasons. He it reminds me of the character in Doctor Strange when let me make sure I'm getting his name right. He was the wizard or whatever. 2016, man, it's been that long. He was the wizard Mordo, who was such a student of the Ancient One, and was such. Again, this is for those of you who've seen Doctor Strange, which I'm sure most of you probably have if you're watching Transformers. Mordo's character in that movie, he was so much of his life's understanding, so much of his hopes were all intertwined in the instruction from the Ancient One, from his mentor, from his life mentor, the one who was basically spiritually, I guess, leading him, and had such a huge role in his life. When she turned out to be not at all what he had thought and imagined, his whole world got broken apart. And I think of that kind of thing when I think of Megatron here, because once he realized the deception, it's like it broke him, and he was already on a path toward. He was already he was already a self-centered person. You just had to go and do this. You just stick to protocol, and everything's gonna be okay. He was already in a wrong state of mind, and then the revelation of the deception just broke him. And you see people in real life who are like that. They were in a bad way before, and then they learn things that cause them to at least feel betrayed, even if no one in particular betrayed them. They were just being fed the same pot of lies as everybody else. But you still have an emotional response to it, or at least most people do, and people don't know how to deal with it a lot of times. And in the movie, I don't know that D exactly worshipped. He wasn't. He wasn't. I don't know that he worshipped Sentinel or anything. It's just that he just wanted to get by. He just wanted to survive. It's just he didn't want much. He just wanted to get by somehow, some way. He was like a desperate soul in a way, in his own way. And then all that anger and all that aggression, it's going to be coming out, and it came out big time. Let me see. I guess that's about it. Alita finally warmed to Orion, and got the promotion she was looking for in the end. He wanted to make her one thing. She's like, "How about Commander?" Oh, even better. He's not going to argue with her. He's instantly simping and caving to Alita. Very good, Prime. Real good. She'll be Optimus Prime in the next movie you watch. She'll unseat him because she's better at him in every way and everything. And at least B will still be around, hopefully. But yeah, I've talked this movie to death, and I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I read that synopsis because it really helped me move things along as far as remembering what happened bit by bit, the race, and then being thrown down. First the mining, they're miners, and then they get kicked around, thrown around, cast out, ripped off, screwed, because that was the world they were living in. They were not going. It's another lesson. It's another great thing. It doesn't matter what you do or what you're trying to do in life. Trying to get a promotion, trying to get by. If you're living in a system of lies, you're not ever going to really get anywhere. You've got to adopt a worldview that lets you just deal in the truth all the time, not just some of the time, and tell the truth and live the truth. And I guess, like in Transformers, sometimes it takes somebody willing to just sacrifice everything in order to make you see that. Sound familiar? Well, I'm going to end it there, folks. We'll see you next time. If they make a sequel to this, I'm watching it. That's all I can say. And I'm going to catch it in the movie theater next time. So, yeah, there you go. Movie theater. Me, my butt, Coke, popcorn, Transformers. I guess they'll call it Transformers 2. I'll watch it. Hopefully they'll make one. I'll definitely go see it because I enjoyed this very much. Anyway, 56 minutes. That's insane. See you next time, folks. Thanks for listening to me. I'm going to shut up now. Later.